Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
And welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Alright, so day 68 without football. Yep, I was ready. Alright, I remembered I said it was day 66 on Tuesday, so we're at day 68 since our last football game. This is going to be something we keep going till, the regulars. So I guess, I don't know. Does preseason count? Yeah, we'll say the Hall of Fame game counts. All right, so we'll go on the little day, whatever it is, till the Hall of Fame game. All right, then I guess that's where you can say football has started because we're waiting for our first actual football game. Then you can count the little spring league that Johnny Manziel's been playing, and I need to start following that too. I want to see how Johnny Manziel does in the spring league. I know Bleacher Report's the one who are streaming those games, but nonetheless, so it's day 68. It's a good day today. Looking sunny out here in beautiful old Sacramento. It is April 12th. All right, and we got storylines to talk about. Jarvis Landry looks like he's going to be getting paid by the Browns. I like it. We're going to be talking about that for the first segment. Talked about the 49ers on Tuesday, I think it was, where we talked about them in the fourth segment, talked about the whole Jimmy Garoppolo. They were still planning on getting Kirk Cousins, even trading for him. But we're going to talk about Reuben Foster, all right? Getting charged with 3 felonies. And I'm going to talk more so about the culture that the 49ers are trying to build and pretty much why they should get rid of a guy like Foster, all right? So we'll be doing that for the second segment. Third segment, looking like that Jerry Jones and Dez Bryant are going to be having a meeting on Friday to determine, I'm guessing, it's his future. So we'll be talking about that. I know we've been talking about Dez Bryant quite a bit so far this offseason, but nonetheless, if they're meeting, that's news right there. So we'll be doing that for the third segment, and then for the fourth segment, pretty much going to be talking about anything else going on in the world of football. Anything that crosses my mind. We'll do some fun stuff probably. I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. Usually the fourth segment is the funnest, though, so we'll see. But nonetheless, like I said, that's how the show's going to go. So let's get right into it. Jarvis Landry, all right, was drafted by the Miami Dolphins. 2012, I think it was. I think it was I think it was 2012. And since then was their best offensive player. And it wasn't close either. No one was better than Jarvis Landry. People might say, oh, J.J. wasn't. J.J. had 2 200-yard games. Everything else, if you look back, was kind of, that's cool. Good job. Wasn't great. All right. But nonetheless, Landry was by far the best player on that offense. All right. Put up big numbers. Pretty much was a bit of a hothead, but was also a spark for that offense too. And he got traded to the Browns. Okay. Miami always has this thing too with guys that they draft that play well. They never seem to stick around in Miami. I'm not sure if that's just bad front office stuff or if it's just, I don't know. But that's just one thing I wanted to point out. But either way, here we go. And looks like Landry could be getting the long-term deal he wanted. Looks like the Browns are going to be giving him a 5-year, $75 million deal. All right, $15 million a year. I think it's $47 million guaranteed. So there's that. All right. And that's one of the reasons why, that is the biggest reason why Jarvis Landry was traded away, because of the fact that Miami didn't want to pay him. For some reason, people look at Jarvis Landry and they see slot receiver and they're just like, oh, nope, no good. No way you're going to pay a guy like that. That money, okay? And people, no matter how much you want to bring up the fact that he's had 400 receptions in his first 4 seasons, no one has ever done that, I think, no one's ever done that for their first 4 seasons. They'll bring up his yards, okay? Struggles to bring in over 1,000 yards as a receiver, All right, if you want to be regarded as a top receiver in the league, obviously the yards is what you're going to have at least over 1,000 year in and year out pretty much. Landry's pretty much been near that, but it hasn't always gotten over 1,000. I think in Miami, he only got over 1,000 yards twice. All right, and I get that and all, but I mean, let's put it this way, okay? Dez Bryant's making about $16 million a year, and he might not be for in a few weeks. So yeah, he's making $16 million a year. Demaryius Thomas is making about 14, I think it is, and then you got T.Y. Hilton who's making 13. Okay, if you go back and look at their stats from this past season, Landry was better than them at everything. Touchdowns, I think it is, yards, and receptions. Okay? But since Jarvis Landry plays on the inside as a slot and not on the outside, Landry doesn't get that same respect that they do. Okay? Which is kind of ridiculous. If you're out there paying guys like that kind of money, I don't understand why you wouldn't pay a guy like Landry who's producing way more than them from the slot, which is, I guess, such a bad position to be playing if you want to get paid, I guess. All right, but nonetheless, here he is getting paid. And with Miami, I mean, there's the whole, they wanted to change the culture. And that's something we're going to be talking about in the second segment as far as the 49ers too. So maybe we'll even bring up Miami once again, just to talk about the whole culture change thing. But yeah, their whole thing this offseason was to fix the culture in the locker room. They got rid of Jay Ajayi midseason last year. And I know that was a culture change right there. Got rid of Jarvis Landry, cut Sue. They get rid of anyone else notable? I think those were like the biggest ones right there. Yeah, let go of Landry, got rid of Sue. Anyone on defense? Anyone else on defense? No, I think that was pretty much it. Like I said, they traded Jay Ajayi mid-season this past year. Jay Ajayi and Adam Gase always had their problems, it seemed like, so I guess I understand that. Jarvis Landry, I think he got ejected in the last game of the season. I know that rubbed Gase the wrong way, and I think it was just a matter of terrible contract. But nonetheless, here he is, playing for the Browns, Jarvis Landry. Like I said, going to be getting a 5-year, $75 million deal. It's looking like $15 million a year and $47 guaranteed. So he got his deal. And people are going to say, oh, yeah, it's classic Browns. They overpaid. Shouldn't have gave him that much. No one else would have gave him that much. But look at it this way, okay? The Browns, I believe, after giving Landry this deal, still have around $67 million left in cap space. Okay? You know what you can't do with cap space? You can't bring it over into the next year. You cannot say, oh, I'm not going to spend this and we'll have it ready for next season. No, that's not how it works at all. Okay? So basically, the Browns need to spend money. Okay? Like they have to. So I'm all for them giving Landry $15 million a year. All right? Like I'm perfectly fine with that. Because like you said, you can't take it with you over to the next year. So what are you going to do with it? Okay? You're just going to not spend it? You're going to have to fill it. You're going to actually think you have to spend it pretty much. So I'm perfectly fine with him giving him that money. I think it's a good deal for both sides. I mean, maybe I guess you could say it's all going to depend because the Dolphins and Browns are going to be kind of connected this year. More so the Jarvis Landry and the Dolphins. Okay, if the Dolphins receiving corps looks terrible, then they're going to be like, oh yeah, they shouldn't have traded Jarvis Landry. And that's one thing too. All right. One thing I've noticed with the national media is that if the Dolphins make a move, and it's a smart move, they'll say it. But if it doesn't end up working out, then they'll crush the Dolphins for making that move. It's just something I've kind of picked up on. But nonetheless, like I said, they're going to be kind of connected because if the receiving corps doesn't play well, then Jarvis is, then it's going to be a problem. But nonetheless, I mean, Miami brought in Danny Amendola and Albert Wilson to replace Landry, two guys for that one spot. And I've seen people before compare Jarvis Landry to Danny Amendola, so there's not much of a difference. You know how wrong you got to be to say something like that? Like, there is a huge difference between Jarvis Landry and Danny Amendola. Like, it's ridiculous. All right? Like, I can't believe someone would actually think to say that. But nonetheless, I mean, it's been said. Albert Wilson and Danny Amendola are definitely a downgrade from Jarvis Landry. All right? But nonetheless, let's talk about the Browns. Remember how I just said? People say, oh, it's the Browns. They always mess things up. Yeah. That's what people are thinking right now, okay? And there's a question. With the team the Browns got right now, are they a possible playoff team? Why not? I say yeah, possibly. They could be playoff contenders. At least the contenders to make the playoffs is what I mean. Why wouldn't they be? All right? Look at it. You got Tyrod Taylor at the quarterback position. I mean, Tyrod with the Bills, for some reason, Buffalo never really wanted him, which is just ridiculous. I mean, if you look at Buffalo, they had no help at the receiving spot. Kelvin Benjamin, really? Come on now. All right, yeah, he's a number 2 receiver, if that, but he's not a number 1. Zay Jones didn't really do too much. No other receiver on that team did too much. LaShawn McCoy was the only other weapon on that offense, and it seemed like he consistently led them in receiving yards and catches. All right, so like no one really on offense. Charles Clay's a nice little tight end option, but nonetheless, he's getting older and he's not really that great. Defense played well, but it's just Tyrod Taylor did what he could with that offense and took him to the playoffs. First time the Bills have been in the playoffs in I think it was 21 years? But no, we don't want Tyrod Taylor. No. Yeah, why wouldn't you want a guy who doesn't turn the ball over? Who's not going to lose you a game? Makes no sense to me. But nonetheless, now he's in Cleveland in a better situation, to be honest. Then at the running back position, you got Carlos Hyde, and I'm sure they're going to be drafting another guy, whether it be Saquon Barkley with the 4th pick, or maybe you go after a guy like Sonny Michel from Georgia, who has probably the best vision in this draft as far as running back position goes. All right. You got Duke Johnson, too. I'm sure Duke Johnson and Tyrod Taylor are going to be running some nice plays together. Maybe some RPO action, possibly. I know that was the word of the day for the Super Bowl, I felt. So you got that. The wide receiver position, look at it. You got Josh Gordon, who, was gone for 2 years practically, comes back for 3 games and looks like a beast. Corey Coleman, when he's not injured, is not a great receiver, but he's a good receiver, solid number 2 option. In the slot, you have the best slot receiver in the league by far, Jarvis Landry. And then you got David Njoku at the tight end position where, showed flashes of what he could be last season as a rookie. Now you're thinking he's going to be taking that next step in year 2 and maybe going to develop a little more and get better. Offensive line probably needs a little bit more work, but it's not bad. And defense, I'm sure they're going to go real defense heavy after getting their quarterback in round 1. All right, defense is still young. Got to develop, and that's pretty much the only thing. Just give them time to develop. So the Browns very well could be a playoff team. If you look at their division, Pittsburgh's going to win that division. That's no doubt, unless Big Ben or someone gets hurt. As far as the Ravens go, they're kind of on the downfall here. I got this little thing where if the Ravens don't make the playoffs, I think they're going to get rid of Harbaugh. Joe Flacco hasn't looked good. RG3 is probably going to get some starts this season, and that's not a good thing because of the fact that means Flacco was bad. Receivers are no good. Running backs are okay. Defense is all you can hang your hat on there. As far as the Bengals go, I feel like this team stopped playing for Marvin Lewis last year. They were extremely boring and just weren't good at all. Andy Dalton, when he's got an offensive line in front of him, a decent one, is a top 10 quarterback. Adrian Green's a top 5 wide receiver. Brandon LaFell's a solid number 2. And then you got Joe Mixon as the every down back this year. Defense is pretty good. Bengals should be a good team, but nonetheless, it looks like they just haven't looked good. As far as the AFC East goes, because the Browns are going to be a wild card team if they end up making the playoffs. That's what they'll be fighting for. All right, as far as the AFC East goes, the Dolphins did make the playoffs in 2016, but last year looked pretty brutal, so we'll see what goes on with them this season. As for the Bills, they got too many holes. If they trade up, that's going to pretty much put an end to their season. If they trade up for a quarterback, I'm just saying that right now. Jets, not contending for anything anytime soon. All right, head over to the AFC South. That's where the toughness is. I think the Titans are going to be a really solid team this season. Matt LaFleur, I think, is going to make Marcus Mariota look like a great quarterback this season. He's done so with Jared Goff and then was a quarterback's coach for the Falcons the year Matt Ryan won the MVP. The Texans look great when Deshaun Watson's out there. If Andrew Luck is healthy week 1, then the Colts have every opportunity to win that division. And then speaking of winning the division, the Jacksonville Jaguars, lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game when they probably should have won. Probably shouldn't have played scared like they did or coached scared like they did, but nonetheless, there it is. And as for the AFC West, the Chargers are the clear-cut favorites to win that division. The Raiders are trying to go back in time for some reason as far as the way they're running their team, and I don't know, it's just ridiculous with what they're doing. And then as far as the Broncos, they're only as good as Case Keenum will be, so if Case Keenum looks like the guy that played with the Texans and Rams, they're in trouble. And as for the Chiefs, we got to see what's going on with Patrick Mahomes. If he's the real deal, then they'll be good. If not, then they'll be bad. So Browns do have an opportunity, but nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to talk about the 49ers, Reuben Foster, and pretty much just anything that has to do with that situation. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. So far today, we've only done one segment. All right, we talked about the Cleveland Browns and Jarvis Landry. He's going to be getting his deal. It's looking like 5 years, $75 million, $47 million guaranteed, 15 a year. So looking pretty good there. I mean, like I said, the Browns got tons of cap. They still got to spend. And like I said, you can't take it with you over to the next year, so I have no problem with them giving him $15 million a year. But nonetheless, they did that. And for this segment, we got Reuben Foster, who's in the news. All right, he's been officially charged with 3 felonies, including domestic violence. All right, it has to do with a February 11th incident that happened at his home, I believe it was. And now it's just a matter of what goes next as far as the whole legal situation. I think he could face. He could possibly. I think the maximum is like 11 years in jail. He could possibly do. And we've seen, as far as the whole jail time and stuff, I think Dante Stallworth might have been in jail for like a year, I think it was, because that manslaughter thing. And then Michael Vick, with his whole dogfighting thing, was in jail for a year and a half, wasn't he? So, we don't really see too many players doing time in jail. All right, just professional athletes as a whole, we just never really see actually going to jail. But nonetheless, that's the possibility. And it's just a guy right here coming out of Alabama. If he didn't have his injury concerns and off the field concerns, probably would have been a top 10 pick. But nonetheless, like I said, did have concerns. Was end up taking 31st by the 49ers. It was late in the first round. I know that. And you're kind of waiting to see which team would take a chance on him. The 49ers did. And it just seems like with the 49ers, I'm not sure if it really has to do with them or they're just not doing their homework, but it seems like with the guys they draft, some of them just don't turn out because of the fact that they're just knuckleheads. All right? They just don't have the good head on their shoulders. One of the saddest stories is Aldon Smith. The other day, he got arrested again. All right? I read this story. It was sad. Dude had a 0.4 blood alcohol level. 0.4. Okay? I think that's close enough to be lethal. All right, Aldon Smith is the guy who needs help, and hopefully he does get it. All right, and just one thing you see with these guys who are just always getting into trouble is they just don't have the right people around them. I think that's pretty much what it is. I was listening to an interview with Ryan Leaf the other day, and he was talking about one of his biggest problems when he was out in the league is he surrounded himself with a bunch of yes men. He didn't have the right people around him. All right, he was talking about it was a Barstool Sports interview. I think it was part of my take, but nonetheless. Just give them credit for the interview. But nonetheless, like I said, I was listening to the interview, and he's talking about how he had too many yes men around him. All right, and it wasn't healthy for him. All right, all the people that were trying to tell him, no, you're doing this wrong, and you need to fix yourself up. He said that he pushed away. He didn't want to hear it. I think he even said at one point that he spent 6 months not talking to his parents because they were telling him the same thing too. Ryan Leaf was just someone who didn't want to hear it, and sure enough, I'm not I know. Ryan Leaf, I have to do more research on it all. I know him and Peyton Manning came out the same year, and Ryan Leaf was supposed to be this great quarterback and all that. But nonetheless, like I said, it's just kind of just a guy where got in his own head and had the wrong people around him, did time in prison and all that. He was even talking about how, kind of realized he was playing pretty much back yard football at prison. Talks about how he saw the guards and stuff get excited about it. He just thought, why am I here and stuff like that. So, yeah, Ryan Leaf's the one you want to bring up because of the fact that you see what he's got going, how he had going on in the beginning of his career. That's kind of what I think is going on with Reuben Foster and guys like Aldon Smith. Don't have the right people around him, right? You got too many yes men. They don't and that's one thing I've noticed too with the players coming in and stuff like that. It's not so much to this extreme, but players just do not want to hear anything, any criticism or anything like that. I've kind of noticed that. And again, it's not to the extreme of where guys are getting in trouble and all that. But nonetheless, if you head over to the NBA, you can't tell any of those players anything as far as stats or anything like that because they get extremely defensive. I'm not sure if that's a new generational type thing or what. But nonetheless, if you're the 49ers, you got to cut this guy, don't you? I understand that there's the whole, you'd like to help him and all of that. But it's just a matter of, it's just a matter of you're trying to build a culture, okay? This is a very important part of the 49ers rebuild process. They're not back to being a good team by any means or anything like that, but they're very well on their way. You got Jimmy Garoppolo, who you locked up. You're signing your guys from within to long-term deals. Marquise Goodwin got a 3-year extension. You got a couple of good rookies at the tight end and wide receiver position. Probably still need a running back, so I'm curious to see what they're going to go there. You got a very young defense who is locked up long-term. All right. So now you're pretty much just trying to build the culture and just get the winning mentality out there. And as far as the building the culture part, you don't really want to build it with guys like Reuben Foster. All right. You want guys like Jimmy Garoppolo out there. You want guys like Marquise Goodwin out there. Guys who are good character guys who aren't going to get into any trouble. All right. You want to make sure that this team is only focusing on winning and just winning and making sure they're doing their job and no outside distractions. I mean, I don't understand what the point of bringing back a guy like Reuben Foster would be. All right. He's had multiple incidents off the field. Doesn't really stay too healthy in his first season. Obviously, like the talent part of his game, I mean, there's no doubt. Dude's one of the most talented players when he wants to be. All right. Got all this all-world talent, all-time talent. But it's just a matter of he can't keep his head on straight. All right. And if you're the 49ers, you're Kyle Shanahan, you're trying to build something here. Okay. Look at it this way. You got the Seahawks who looking like they're trying to do the same thing. Look at that. Perfect. Okay. The Seahawks are trying to rebuild their culture. All right, I think that's kind of been the theme this offseason with these teams is rebuilding the culture. Look at the Seahawks, okay? Like I said, I mean, their Super Bowl window was open from the last few years, and it's just a matter of things weren't working. I mean, there was always the whole talk of Richard Sherman not getting along with Russell Wilson and all that defense really being really loud at practice and stuff like that as far as talking trash. And these guys were very outspoken. One thing with the Seahawks, I mean, they didn't really have too many off-the-field problems. More so they were outspoken, and I have no problem with players being outspoken. But, of course, I mean, if the team's going to run their team the way they want to, then there's nothing we can really do about it. But nonetheless, I mean, the Seahawks have gotten a little bit worse, and the 49ers, I mean, you got the Rams who are the best team in the division. You got the 49ers who could take that jump as the second-best team in the division over Seattle. All right, and you really don't need guys like Reuben Foster affecting that. I mean, look at the NFC right now. You got Jimmy Garoppolo who's looking like he's going to be your future quarterback for the. Well, he is going to be your future quarterback since they already locked him up. I mean, you got anywhere. Only place you can go now is up. All right, and you can't be having guys like Reuben Foster dragging you down. And again, it goes back to the whole. Of course, you want to help the guy, and that's why I don't think the 49ers have cut him yet. I think they're just trying to wait and see what goes on here. But it's just a matter of. Obviously, the legal system, it's innocent to proven guilty, but if this happened and they know what happened, why keep them around? I mean, talent, I get, trumps all, but it's just a matter of, it goes back to the whole culture thing. It's why Miami traded away Jarvis Landry, why they traded away Jay Ajayi. All right, the culture. You can't really have too many hotheads in one locker room. Adam Gase himself is a hothead, so, I mean, the coach isn't going, so you got to get rid of the players and try and figure out how to get guys who aren't going to cause any distractions. All right? So I'm very curious to see how the 49ers proceed about this. I mean, like I said, I mean, Reuben Foster's got 3 felony counts and a domestic abuse incident. Could face up to 11 years in jail. So I'm just really curious to see what they end up doing here. Like I said, there's really no reason for them to bring him back, I feel. You can go out and draft a guy like Roquan Smith, and that's one thing too. Now it kind of affects the draft as to if they do cut him. I mean, they're going to be taking a guy like Tremaine Edmonds or Roquan Smith, and that's going to affect what the Raiders do and the Dolphins do. Because I mean, look right here. So number 1, I got the Browns taking Sam Darnold. Number 2 would be the Giants. I'm going to go and say that they take a guy like Bradley Chubb. I'm not sure if they're going to take a quarterback. Looking like more and more they will, but I'm going to say Bradley Chubb. Number 3, I'm going to say the Jets take Josh Allen. Number 4, I'm not doing any trade ups or anything like that. I'm going to say number 4, the Browns take a guy like, it's either going to be Minkah Fitzpatrick or Saquon Barkley. I'm going to go Fitzpatrick. 5 is the Broncos. I could see them taking Baker Mayfield. All right. 6, you got the Colts. They'll take whoever the Browns don't, whether it be Minkah Fitzpatrick or Saquon Barkley. Then at 7, I think we got the Bucks. They're not taking a quarterback. They could take Derwin James. Number 8, you got the Bears. I see them taking Quentin Nelson. Number 9 is the 49ers. You got Roquan Smith there or Tremaine Edmonds. And I think the Raiders are going to be taking one of those linebackers too. And then that leaves, I guess, Miami ended up with Josh Rosen. And then the Bills with... Yeah, actually the Bills would be kind of messed up there. But nonetheless, like I said, the 49ers are probably going to have to take a linebacker. And I mean... You really don't want to because you still got to fix up the secondary. All right, Richard Sherman's there, but it's just a matter of he's a 30-year-old coming off of an Achilles injury. You still got to wait and see how he does. And more so, I mean, there's the whole thing with Richard Sherman, the whole thing about when he was with Seattle, he had Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas pretty much watching his back for him. So really, they make Richard Sherman look better than what he actually is. I'm not really one who's going to go out and say that because of the fact that I'm going to give Richard Sherman his credit. All right, his interception numbers are up there and his passes deflected are up there. So, I mean, the dude does produce, whether it be because of the fact that he's got good talent around him or whatnot. And I feel like whenever you do have solid talent around him, I mean, at one point, Seattle did have the best safety tandem in all the league. Of course, you're going to look better. All right, whenever you got great players around you, you're always going to look good. I mean, it's kind of like with Kaepernick. All right, Kaepernick, when he went that year to the Super Bowl with the 49ers, Kaepernick's not that guy that's going to make players around him better. He's going to be pretty much play as well as the guys around him. All right, Carlos Hyde, Michael Crabtree out there, one of the best offensive lines, Vernon Davis. I mean, that's a lot of weapons, and Colin Kaepernick had talent, so that's why he looked so good. All right, that's kind of like what Richard Sherman might be. All right, maybe he's not going to make guys around him better, but nonetheless, he's got good talent around him. You're going to see his play elevate, and that's no problem there. I mean, that's kind of been a knock on some players, and I don't really see why. But nonetheless, I mean, we'll see what the 49ers are doing here. All right, again, very crucial part of the rebuild. You got to build up the culture and pretty much make sure you got good character guys out there, and it just seems like, dare I say, Reuben Foster just isn't that. So we'll see what's going on there. It's going to affect their draft plans and all that, so we'll see. But nonetheless, let's see. Anything else going on with the 49ers? I mean, that's pretty much it, all I wanted to talk about. Let's see. I think, yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about right there. So we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, like I said, Jerry Jones and Dez Bryant are going to be having a meeting on Friday, so we're going to be talking about that, all right? Going to be interesting to see what happens all down in Jerry World, all right? Is Dez Bryant going to be getting cut from the Cowboys? I mean, he was supposed to be, I guess, the next Michael Irvin. They did give him the 88 and all that. I'm surprised that number really didn't get retired. Does the NFL really retire numbers? I mean, I know, yeah, do they? I don't think they're really as big on retiring numbers as the NBA does. I mean, if Michael Irvin's number wasn't retired, then maybe it's just like a Cowboys thing where you don't retire it. You just give the next best player that number, possibly. I mean, what number was Troy Aikman? 8? Tony Romo was, what, number 9, I think it was? I don't know. I'm very curious to see how the NFL, like what the NFL teams do as far as retiring numbers. But yeah, like I said, we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to be talking about that in the next segment. So stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. So far today, we've talked Jarvis Landry and the Browns. We've talked Reuben Foster, and basically, I mean, with Jarvis Landry, I mean, I like the deal that the Browns are giving him. All right, he wanted about $14 million. I think he's getting about 15. About 5 years, $75 million total, $47 million guaranteed. All right, so that's good there. And people are going to say, oh, the Browns overpaid for him. He's a slot receiver, all that. And, I mean, you got to spend the money. You can't take the cap over with you. And then as far as the whole Reuben Foster segment, all right, officially charged with 3 felony counts of domestic abuse or something like that. I think it was domestic violence. And if I'm the 49ers, I mean, you got to cut him, right? I guess like I was talking about in the last segment, I mean, you're in a crucial part of the rebuild where you're starting to build up the culture. All right, you can't have guys like that out there where you're causing distractions off the field. So we'll see what they end up doing. Very curious to see, but Reuben Foster does need, I mean, the right people around him, I guess, just to get his head on straight. He's got all the talent in the world as far as the linebacking position goes, but looks like he might just be throwing it all away, so we'll see. But as for this segment, we're going to be heading over to Dallas, all right? Been following this one very closely, been talking about it quite a bit over the offseason, and it's the whole Dez Bryant and the Dallas Cowboys situation, all right? As you've known my stance on it pretty much. If I was the Cowboys, I'd cut him, and now it's just a matter of we got to wait and see now, okay? There's been a report out that Jerry Jones and Dez Bryant are going to be meeting on Friday. And there's obviously no details about what the meeting is going to consist of, but, I mean, we all pretty much know what it's going to be about, okay? Obviously, you're paying a guy $16 million a year, and he's not giving you $16 million a year stats. Not at all, okay? So now it's just a matter of it seeming what the Cowboys want to do going forward. Do they see Dez Bryant in their plans going forward? Maybe they're going to ask him for a pay cut. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen first, okay? I'm sure Jerry Jones is going to ask Dez Bryant to take a pay cut. All right, he's probably going to tell him something along the lines of, yeah, we're paying you $16 million, but your stats have gone down, so we're going to need you to take a pay cut or else you could kick rocks, all right? So I think that's how it's going to go down, and this isn't Dez Bryant's offense anymore. I'm not going to say it's his team or anything like that because he's a wide receiver, but nonetheless, when Tony Romo was out there playing quarterback, Dez Bryant was without a doubt the best player on that offense. All right, it just wasn't even close. The dude was one of the best receivers in the league for like a 3-year period in time, like his 3-year peak so far in his career. And I think he's been around for 8 years, something like that. He's been around for quite some time. But nonetheless, all right, since then hasn't really looked, well, since Dak Prescott pretty much took over, Dez Bryant just hasn't looked like how he used to. All right, now he's not even the best player on the offense. That's Ezekiel Elliott, and it's not close there either. Okay, and obviously, I mean, the team is always going to go with what the quarterback thinks. And it seems like since Dak Prescott has taken over, Dak Prescott and Dez Bryant really just haven't seen eye to eye at all. Okay? Like, just at all. And, I mean, that's like, Dez Bryant, his stats going down, like, it's not really his fault. Okay? Dez Bryant is a certain type of receiver, as we know. And it's just, he doesn't fit in with this new Cowboys offense. Okay? When you had Tony Romo out there. Tony Romo was a gunslinger. He's like a Brett Favre type. He's not afraid to make the tough throws. Okay? Yeah, he's going to throw an interception every now and then. That's pretty much the ultimate definition of a gunslinger. That's why Brett Favre is number 1 all time in interceptions. But, I mean, you're going to make those throws more times than not because of the fact that you got the arm to and because of the fact that you got the ability to. Tony Romo was always one that did that. That's why Dez Bryant was so good. Okay? Because of his ability. He's able to go out and go up and get the ball. All right? Dak Prescott, my comparison for him is Alex Smith. That's my ceiling for Dak Prescott right there is Alex Smith. And that's not bad. I know Tate, he didn't really like Alex Smith as a quarterback, but nonetheless, I like Alex Smith a lot. I think he's a very good quarterback. Last year, he was a top 10 quarterback if you check his stats and the way he played. So, I mean, that's not a problem at all as far as comparing Dak Prescott to Alex Smith. That's pretty much who I see there. All right, Dak Prescott, Alex Smith, I'd say have about the same arm strength, same arm. Both pretty accurate. Alex Smith is more accurate than Dak Prescott, though. Dak Prescott has a little bit ways to go before he turns into Alex Smith. All right, and both just don't like to take chances. Both don't take risks. Okay, if you made Alex Smith the quarterback of the Cowboys, Dez Bryant would still be having the same problem. All right, it is what it is. Okay, obviously now the Cowboys have pretty much established now that Tony Romo isn't there anymore that Dak Prescott is their quarterback of the future. There's no room for Dez Bryant there. All right, I always like to go back to, I think it was a press conference where I think Dak Prescott threw a ball to Dez Bryant, hits him in the face mask. Dez Bryant doesn't catch it, and it goes for an interception. After the game, Dak Prescott is asked about it, and Dak Prescott pretty much says, I guess, you can't hit him in the face, you got to hit him in the chest. Kind of snarky a bit, kind of like frustrated because of the fact that, I mean, it was Dez Bryant's fault, but nonetheless, Dak Prescott's going to get the heat for it. All right? So I don't think they've really ever seen eye to eye, and I think it's better for both sides if they just part ways. You're not going to get the old Dez Bryant production that you got before because of the fact that you got Alex Smith 2.0 playing quarterback. All right. Plus, it's not like you can go out and get Dez Bryant a bunch of touches because of the fact that now Ezekiel Elliott is the guy who needs the ball. All right. We've seen what this team is without Ezekiel Elliott. They're not very good. Dak Prescott is not very good without Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott missed 6 games last season, and they almost came back and made the playoffs because of the fact that Ezekiel Elliott came back. All right. Let's not forget, year 1, Ezekiel Elliott had a monster rookie year, probably the best rookie year ever for a running back. Cowboys go 13-3. Next year, he misses 6 games. They go 9-7. I'm not saying they would have won all the 6 games, but they would have looked a whole lot better than they did. I mean, remember the Thanksgiving Day game between them and the Chargers? That was brutal. All right? That was probably the worst Cowboys game of the season. Let me see. Yeah, it was 28-6. Dallas really stood no chance whatsoever in that one. All right. But nonetheless, like I said, it's just the whole meeting thing. I mean, I'm curious to see what exactly happens. Okay. I'm very curious to see. I mean, it's just, I don't see them bringing back Dez. I don't at all. All right. And I mean, now it's just a matter, like, it's just, yeah, I don't see him fitting in there really. There's no, like, think about it. Let's do pros and cons right now. Okay, a pro keeping Dez Bryant. I guess he's still a top receiver. I don't know, I'm kind of fishing here too, and I'm trying to find pros. All right, we got the GSMC _football Twitter. Tweet at that if you got any pros as to keeping Dez Bryant. But nonetheless, look at it. All right, Dez Bryant really hasn't been the same receiver he was since Romo left. I mean, what's a pro? He's productive, kind of. A con, you're paying him $16 million and he's not putting up those kind of stats. Con, he doesn't really seem to have a good connection with Dak Prescott. Con, his numbers have dipped. Con, he's got sideline outbursts. I mean, come on now. NFL's a business too, all right? You're paying him $16 million. He's not putting up those numbers. Why are you going to pay him that when you could probably get Allen Hurns putting up similar numbers there? Dez Bryant isn't putting up number one receiver numbers. It's not like he's just barely missing out on 1,000 yards or anything like that. Kind of like how Jarvis Landry is. All right, Jarvis Landry puts up the catch numbers but doesn't really get 1,000 yards. Dez Bryant's nowhere near that. Dez Bryant is putting up number 2 receiver numbers pretty much. You telling me Allen Hurns can't do that for cheaper? I mean, now I'm thinking about it. There's no way that Dallas brings back Dez Bryant. All right, the fact that this meeting's going on Friday, I'm sure Jerry Jones realizes that. Okay? I'd be honestly very surprised if Dallas ends up bringing back Dez Bryant. Let's just say that. And I'm not really sure too much like what his trade value would be too. All right. What does a Dez Bryant go for right now? Let me see Dez Bryant, his stats over his career. See how many years he spent in the NFL, and we'll go from there. All right. I mean, is he worth a first round pick? I'm not sure. I mean, he's only won the All-Pro. He's only been an All-Pro once, 3-time Pro Bowler. Been in the league since 2010. That's 8 years so far he's played. This will be his 9th. All right. Last 2 years with Dak Prescott as his quarterback, 50 receptions, 796 yards. Did put up 8 touchdowns. And this past year had 69 receptions, 838 yards, 6 touchdowns. So I guess he improved. There's that. There's a silver lining there. I mean, he improved from year 1 with Dak Prescott to year 2. All right. Had about 19 more catches. About, 40-something more yards? I think it is. I'm not very good at math, but I'm pretty sure, 40-something more yards. All right, so he has improved, so maybe you use that as silver lining as to why you want to keep Dez back. But tell me this, 69 catches, 838 yards, 16 touchdowns. Take the name away. Would you pay $16 million a year for that? All right, you're going to pay $16 million for 92 catches, nearly 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, or 93 catches, 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, or even 88 catches, 1,300 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Yeah, you're going to pay $16 million for that, no doubt. All right? I mean, that's easy right there. You don't let something like that go. But the guy who's getting you 50 catches, 796 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 69 catches, 838 yards, 6 touchdowns, that's not really someone that you could pay $16 million. All right? So Dallas has, they got a little question on their hands. Do we want to keep Dez Bryant around? The guy who was supposed to be the next, not next Michael Irvin, but he's got the 88, so I'm sure there was something there. All right? Was a great receiver, but now it's just a matter of you got to get rid of him. All right? And like I said, his trade value, what would you give up for Dez Bryant? You're obviously going to have to give up a couple of picks. Would you give up let's do this, okay? If you're a team, let's say you're the San Francisco 49ers, okay? Would you give up your 9th pick in the draft? And giving up your 9th pick in the draft is basically using that draft pick on Dez Bryant. Okay, that's basically what it is. So would you give up your 9th pick in the draft and probably 6th rounder? And even then, so if you're giving up a first, you're usually giving up a 4th, because if you're giving up a first, that means you're giving up high value. So I guess maybe a 1st and a 5th. Would you give up that for Dez Bryant? A guy who's played 8 years so far? I wouldn't. Not at all. I'd maybe give up a 2nd rounder at the most for Dez Bryant. And that's one thing too. Dallas is probably going to shop around, see what the value is for Dez Bryant. But if I'm an NFL GM, I'm going to act like there is no value. I'm going to wait for them to release him. All right, Dez Bryant on the 49ers, I think, would be a good fit, but I think it's just a matter of, do you really want to give up that kind of draft capital for a guy like that, whereas maybe you hope he gets released and you can get him that way? I mean, that's what I would do. I'm not giving up more than I'm not giving up, the 2nd rounder is the highest pick I'd give up. All right. And the only way I give up a second rounder is if I know I got my quarterback, I got an offense that fits Dez Bryant, and I know he could produce here. I'm not going to give up a second rounder thinking maybe Dez Bryant could work here. I'm only giving up a second rounder if I know he's going to work out here. All right. I mean, in reality, a team like the 49ers, if I'm them, I'm only giving up about maybe a third and a seventh for Dez Bryant. And I think that's what they get. So Kelvin Benjamin, I think, for the Panthers, got a third and a seventh for Kelvin Benjamin. So it's kind of like a measuring stick there. So I guess a second and a sixth would be good for Dez Bryant. All right, a second and a sixth. The fifth is a little too high. Sixth, I think, is right. So, yeah, I guess Dez Bryant's value, is go for about a second and sixth round pick, and even then, so I'm not sure if I want to do that. So I'm curious to see what the cap hit would be for a team like the Cowboys if they did cut Dez Bryant. And, yeah, actually, I think I can check that out right now. So let's see right now what the cap hit would be for a guy like Dez Bryant. Let me double check that real quick. All right, so yeah, I think if the Cowboys were to cut him this season, it'd count for about $8 million against the cap. I mean, that's better than paying him $16. If they were to cut him in 2019, then it'd count for $4 million against the cap. So I think you got to cut him this year, even though it's going to count $8 million against the books, because of the fact that, I mean, you just can't be paying a guy like that $16 million if he's not going to be producing. But nonetheless, we'll see what the Cowboys do. I'm very interested to see what goes on here. I mean, it's like the Tony Romo Cowboys are completely gone. This is the new age rookie young Cowboys here. And the Cowboys, I mean, they got to fix up the defense too. So it's just a matter of maybe you use that extra $8 million that you're getting. Obviously, $8 million of it is going against the cap, but I mean, you're supposed to be paying them $16. So I'm assuming, yeah, they get the other $8. Use that for some guys on defense. But I'm just curious to see what they got going on here. And if you cut Dez Bryant, that kind of does it create another hole, or are you just going to insert Allen Hurns there? All right, we'll see, but that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about anything else going on in the world of football, so stay tuned, and we will be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. So far today, we've talked Jarvis Landry, we've talked Reuben Foster, and Dez Bryant. All right, it's been a fun show so far. Really enjoyed it, but nonetheless, I mean, what we talked about with Jarvis Landry is the deal he's getting: 5 years, $75 million, $47 million guaranteed, about $15 million a year. And I like that deal for the Browns. I think they're gonna have a very good team this year. People talking about the Browns are pretty much saying it's the Browns. They're not going to do anything. All right, it's like that's the thing. Are the Browns going to make be a possible playoff contender this year? Going to be able to make it? It's the Browns. We got to stop being so lazy. I mean, give me something. The Browns do have a solid team there, so I wouldn't doubt them as far as possibly being a wild card team. And we talked about Reuben Foster, officially charged with 3 felony counts, I think, of domestic violence, I think, or something like that. And if I'm the 49ers, you got to cut him. Very crucial part of your rebuild, trying to build up a culture. Can't have guys like that out there, no matter what, all right? Can't have the off-the-field distractions. So we'll see what they end up doing there. I mean, Reuben Foster, it's going to be one of those, this talent Trump character here. All right, we'll see what the 49ers end up doing. Notice we talked about that. Third segment, we talked about Dez Bryant. He's got a meeting with Jerry Jones on Friday. All right, going to be interesting to see what comes from that meeting. If I'm the Cowboys, you got to cut him or you got to trade him. You cut him, I think that counts $8 million against your cap, but nonetheless, I mean, it's better than paying him $16, right? So we'll see what they end up doing there. Very curious to see. I mean, figured Dez Bryant and the Cowboys were, I mean, match made in heaven. Dez Bryant was going to spend the rest of his career there, but you got Alex Smith 2.0 playing quarterback, and it's just not going to work out. So we talked about that, and then for this segment, like I said, we talk about whatever else comes to mind or anything else going on in the football world. Vontaze Burfict got suspended for 4 games this season. What did he get suspended for exactly? Was it PEDs or something like that? Let me double check real quick. Yeah, performance-enhancing substances. All right. So he failed the test on December 27th. So yeah, he's getting suspended for 4 games this season. Vontaze Burfict is a very odd player as far as his image around the league. Doesn't seem to be the most well-liked guy. I remember when they were playing the Steelers and Juju Smith-Schuster laid that hit on him. I mean, it was like Burfict was out. Or I think didn't they have to get the card out for him and stuff like that? And you see people on Twitter cheering about it, happy about it. And I get that you don't like the guy, but come on now, you're cheering on an injury there. But nonetheless, I mean, like I said, Vontaze Burfict is a good linebacker. Yeah, he's a good linebacker. He's just a little bit of a hothead, a dirty player. Yeah, he's a dirty player. One of the biggest things I see about him is that he'd be a great player back when Lawrence Taylor was playing. All right. That NFL, the dirty NFL. I noticed the NFL and NBA in the 80s was very, very dirty. All right. NBA, I mean, they were fouling you like you get fouled and you get punched in the face and it'd just be a normal personal foul. It would not be a flagrant. I mean, you get punched in the face here by anyone else in the NBA. And that guy, whoever punched you, was getting ejected and probably suspended for a few games. But NFL was way different back then, and people always say that Vontaze Burfict probably should have been playing in that area rather than this one, but nonetheless, I mean, like I said, he's got a very weird image going around the NFL. I mean, I think he's a good linebacker, but like I said, he is a dirty player, so there's that. Let's see, anything else going on in the NFL right now? I mean, we got, not necessarily the NFL, we got Colin Kaepernick playing in his second spring league game today. I think the team he's playing against, their quarterback is Zach Mettenberger, and I don't know, I'm just curious to see what's going on with Johnny Manziel here. All right. What's going on? Is he going to be able to make it back to the NFL? Is he not? Is he going to head over to Canada? And I think if he doesn't end up getting into the NFL this season, he will be in Canada. And I think that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to end up in Canada. And I hope he plays well enough for a couple of years to where maybe an NFL team wants to bring him in as a camp body or maybe give him a shot to be a backup quarterback. I think Johnny, I don't know. It doesn't look good for Johnny Manziel right here. All right? It just doesn't at all. But we'll end up seeing. I mean, it looks like he's got his head on straight. But like I said, we'll wait and see. And as for Zach Mettenberger, I mean, Zach Mettenberger was kind of what's Zach Mettenberger's stats looking like in the NFL when he was with the Titans? I mean, it wasn't great, but wasn't Zach Mettenberger kind of like a Sam Bradford type? No, he was not. I'm looking at his completion percentage right now, and it does not look good whatsoever. So 2014, it was his first year. Let's see, he only played 7 games. 60% completion percentage, 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns, 7 picks, and then 2015, 935 yards, 61% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So yeah, I guess Zach Mettenberger just wasn't great. And I'm kind of curious to see. I mean, I think Mettenberger was playing with LSU when they had Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., and Jeremy Hill. How did those teams never win a national title? All right. You have 4 NFL caliber players, 2 of which are top receivers in the league, 1 of which was a solid running back, and the other, was a backup quarterback for a bit. All right. How did Les Miles never win a touchdown with that team? I need someone to explain it to me, honestly. I don't get it. All right. But nonetheless, I mean, like I said, we got Zach Mettenberger versus Johnny Manziel tonight. I think it's like at 3:30 Pacific time. So by the time this is out, you'll probably be seeing it. But nonetheless, let's see anything else going on in the world of football. I mean, now it's just pretty much draft talk here. All right. Which quarterback is going where? Saquon Barkley, I feel like, with all the talk about the quarterback, Saquon Barkley's value has gone down a bit. No one's really talking too much about him. I'm very curious to see where he could end up. It's either going to be the Browns, I think, or the Colts. If he goes to the Colts, I think that's going to be a real solid, good fit there. But, I mean, the Colts don't have that good of a offensive line. Maybe the Colts skip out on him, take Quentin Nelson. Maybe the Bucks. I don't think he goes past the Bucks. Okay, yeah, I think the Bucks is like the farthest he'll drop. And if he gets past the Bucks, I mean, he's not going to the Bears. He could go to the 49ers, but the 49ers need more help on defense than they do at the running back spot. I mean, running back you could get by with for a year. The Raiders got Doug Martin and Marshawn Lynch. Maybe he ends up with a team like Miami. It's possible, but I highly doubt. I mean, it'd take a lot of surprises for him to drop that low. So we'll see about Saquon Barkley. But as far as the quarterbacks go, I mean, I'm curious to see. I think Sam Darnold's going number 1. I think Josh Allen will end up with the Jets. Very curious to see what happens with Josh Rosen. I feel like him being too smart has kind of hurt his draft stock, so we'll see there. But Lamar Jackson, that's been probably the most intriguing quarterback prospect of the draft process. All right, you got guys saying he should play receiver. You got guys saying he's the best quarterback prospect in this draft. I mean, it's all over the place, but he did get a nice little endorsement from TB12, Tom Brady. All right. I think NFL Network posted a little something on Instagram about how, I think it was Bucky Brooks, I think his name is, I can't remember his name. I think his last name was Brooks, I'm sure of it. Said that he'd be a good fit for the Patriots. All right. And I think Louisville and the Patriots do run similar offenses. Louisville does run a similar pro-style offense to the Patriots, so I guess it wouldn't be something completely different from what Lamar Jackson ran over there. But, I mean, you got Tom Brady, who commented on that little Instagram post saying he was a beast. All right, he put beast like a bunch of exclamation marks after that. Lamar Jackson would be a good fit with the Patriots. Tom Brady's going to be there for about 3 more years. All right. You know that Lamar Jackson's not going to take over your starting job like Jimmy Garoppolo might have. Tom Brady's probably going to mentor him a bit, show him how to do stuff. Lamar Jackson fixes up his throwing mechanics, gets a little bit more accurate, and the Patriots have themselves a starting quarterback once Brady's done. All right? That would be a good fit. I want to see Lamar Jackson either go to the Patriots or Saints. I think those are the two best fits there. He goes to the Saints. He's going to be developing for at least 2 years, all right? Maybe 3 if Drew Brees is able to last that long. Plus, by the time Jackson's ready to start, you got Kamara and all those guys about to hit their prime. All right? So I'm very curious to see where Lamar Jackson goes. I think Miami would be a good fit for him. They'll probably take him in the second round if he's out there. The Saints would be a good pick spot for him in the late first. Same with the Patriots. Or even a team like Jacksonville would be a good little spot there. Because, I mean, Jacksonville's kind of got like a wait-and-see type contract with Blake Bortles. If he doesn't work out, then by the time Jackson's ready, Bortles' contract will be up. So it'll be very interesting to see what ends up happening with him. Like I said, I think like Jags, the Patriots, the Saints, the Dolphins, the Steelers would be a nice little team for him. Let's look at the little possible solid little spots for him to go to. Like I said, Miami, the Patriots, Steelers, Jacksonville. No one in the AFC West, really. NFC West, maybe the Cardinals. NFC South, no, they got their quarterbacks. The Saints, like I said. So, yeah, like I said, it's pretty much those 4 or 5 teams that I just mentioned. So, we'll see about it. But I do like Lamar Jackson as a quarterback prospect, and I do think he's going to be very good. But we'll see how it all ends up. So, that's actually going to wrap it up for today's show. Today, we talked Browns. They're going to be giving Landry a long-term deal, it's looking like. We talked Reuben Foster. I think the 49ers should cut him. You got to fix up that culture, and pretty much, like I said, this is a crucial part of the rebuild. We talked Dez Bryant. Him and Jerry Jones are going to be having a meeting on Friday. Going to see what comes from that. I do think that the Cowboys should end up trading or cutting Dez Bryant. If anything, you try and trade him before you cut him, obviously. Well, you have to, but nonetheless, you get what I'm saying there. And then for this segment, pretty much talked about anything else that came to mind. Talked about Lamar Jackson a bit. He would be a good fit on the Patriots. We talked about Johnny Manziel. Got a spring league game going on today. Going to be playing Zach Mettenberger. And then what else we talk about? I think that was pretty much it for this segment. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Football Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. I'll be back next Tuesday to talk with you guys, so stay tuned. And like I said, we will talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.